Hi, my name is Kyle, and today we're going to learn about the Pythagorean Theorem. So, what is the Pythagorean Theorem? It sounds pretty complicated, but it's not. It's actually pretty simple. What the Pythagorean Theorem allows us to do is, with a right triangle, if we know the value of the height and the width, sides A and B, we can figure out the value of C. C being called the hypotenuse. So hypotenuse is a fancy word. What it means, though, is it's just this side right here, this long diagonal side. So what the Pythagorean theorem states, and what it allows us to do, is that by squaring the values that we have for A and for B, we're going to figure out what C is. So let's plug some numbers in. A is going to be equal to 3, and B is going to be equal to 4. So if we take our A and B, our 3 and our 4, and we plug these numbers in, we have 3 squared plus 4 squared equals x squared, or c squared. Let's keep our notation consistent. So at this point, we can really just plug and play. So what is the value of 3 squared? So we know that's just 3 times 3, which is 9. And then we can take the value of 4 squared. That's 4 times 4, and that's 16. So what the Pythagorean theorem states is that by adding these two numbers together, the sum of sides A and B squared, we're going to figure out what the value of C is. So C, in this case, is going to be 25. Now, since we know that the square root of 9 is 3, and the square root of 16 is 4, now all we have to do is take the square root of the value of C squared. So we know in this case that the square root of 25 is just 5. So C is equal to 5. And this can be applied to any right triangle. So assuming as long as the triangle, on a right triangle, just to recap, is a triangle with a 90-degree angle between sides A and B. So as long as there's a 90-degree angle in our triangle, we have a right triangle. And anytime you encounter a right triangle, the Pythagorean theorem will work for you. So let's try a different example. Say we have a right triangle where the value of A is going to be equal to 6. And the value of B is going to be equal to, let's say, 2. This one, unfortunately, won't be quite as clean as our last one. Knowing these values, we can figure out what C is equal to. So we have A squared, which is 6 squared, plus B squared, which in this case is going to be 2 squared, equals C squared. So what is 6 squared? Let's take a second. I got 36. I hope you got the same. What is 2 squared? I got 4. So what is 36 plus 4 equal to? I got 40. So now that we know that 36 came from 6 squared and 4 came from 2 squared, now as long as we can figure out what the square root of 40 is, we know the value of C. So I'm going to get my calculator out because this one's a bit more complicated. and I'm going to find out what the value of the square root of 40 is. So let's take a second and use our calculators to find the square root of 40. I got 6.3245. And you can probably stop rounding off at around the third value, so I'm just going to put 6.3245. I'm going to round up to the fourth value. And that seems really complicated, right? I mean, just the idea that you would to figure that out on your own. But, I mean, all you have to do is know the values of A, the values of B, and square them. And that's how the Pythagorean theorem works. I hope you guys use it and find this lesson helpful. Thanks.